Ladies and gentlemen, Gamer Time Podcast, special edition for the NFL playoffs. My name is Matt. Of course, Big Al. I don't know where to point here. What's up, man?
Hi guys, how you doing? Welcome back, and we're excited to be here. And we have another host or another guest on this show, and the other NFL guy, one of my best friends, Jordan Herr. How you doing today, Jordan?
What's going on, Big Al? Happy to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So, um, Big Al, you actually just mentioned something. Do we want to make? I was thinking this would be a little prediction show. So, do you just want to do the first round, or do you want to do a whole bracket?
Um, I I'll be all right with the whole bracket.
Okay. Um, I think all of our teams did not make the playoffs this year. I'm a Denver Broncos fan. Of course, Big Al's a Cowboys and Jordan's the Eagles fan. So this is no biased. I mean, we've got teams that I personally don't like, but, that's how it works. So let's start
All
with
right.
how about the Colts and the Bills? I think that's the first game tomorrow, too. So, Big Al, what are you thinking?
Let's see. I do like the Colts defense, but um, going against Josh Allen and them guys up in Buffalo, I just think that might be a little much for them to handle. I see it being a decently close game. I do trust Philip Rivers, but not enough in Buffalo. So I'm gonna say Diggs has a touchdown or two, and the Colts, the running backs will do pretty well. But I think the Bills take this one at home.
Okay. Yep. Jordan, what about you?
Yeah, I agree with Alex. I think if you look at Week 17 with the Bills, they played in a game that meant nothing. They didn't even have to play their starters. They couldn't improve their draft stat or their playoff status at all. They were pretty much locked into that two slot unless somehow the Steelers pulled a upset against the Browns without playing. And the Steelers announced they weren't playing like 11 starters. So the Browns go in and the Bills go in and put 56 points up against the playoff contention team in Miami. I mean, who's to say that the Colts are better than Miami? I mean, the Colts have a better quarterback than Miami in Philip Rivers, but the rest of their team is fairly even. Both extremely good defenses. Both don't really turn the ball over. Both, they have great time of possession, and the Bills put up 56 points in a meaningless game. So I honestly think right now the Bills are the best team in football. And that's no disrespect to the Chiefs. I think that all that we went through in the United States and worldwide in 2020, I think that we are going to be blessed with a Kansas City versus Bills AFC championship game, and it may go down as one of the greatest football games we ever get to witness.
Oh.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
think that so the Colts have to play a perfect game offensively. I mean, Jonathan Taylor's clicking. He had 253 yards rushing last week. They can't make any mistakes. I mean, the Bills right now are as close to a perfect, well-rounded team as you can get. I mean, they have a better defense than Kansas City, and offensively, they're playing better than Kansas City. So it's just tough to. There's nothing there that you're going to see that's going to leave a potential question mark unless the lights are too big with 6,700 fans for Josh Allen and Sean McDermott. But the Bills haven't hosted a home playoff game in almost 27 years. So I don't think they're going to all of a sudden score 56 points on Miami and then come out the next week and lay an egg at home in that atmosphere. You know?
Yeah. I think uh, Diggs has had a great year. There's talk of him being the best receiver in football for this year, at least. He's had. I'm not sure if he took the lead in receiving yards, but I know he's up there. And of course, Josh Allen's had an incredible year, MVP candidate, but I don't think he wins it. But the Bills just have had an incredible season. The Colts on the other side, like I think they had a decent team. Their defense, I think, could have been better. this year. What's the linebacker Darius Leonard? I think he's an animal at linebacker, but I think the Bills are the clear cut better team in this matchup. So I think we all agree that the Bills will win this matchup.
I think Bills win 35 to like 14 or 17. I honestly don't think it's very close.
Okay. All right, let's keep AFC. How about the Steelers and the Browns, Big Al?
I was actually driving around tonight. I was actually trying to figure out which one I wanted to go with because I like Baker's Baker Mayfield and getting the team fired up and everything like that. They're playing pretty well as a team collectively, and I know they're missing some coaches this week. Um, I don't know how much that's going to affect them, but just with the other side of the Steelers, they had some bad losses, but they're still a a well-rounded team. Like I said, I went back and forth, but give me the Steelers at home in this one.
Okay. Jordan?
I got to disagree with you, Big Al.
Oh,
But I think that the Steelers are one of the worst. What'd they go? 12 and 4.
yeah.
I think they're one of the worst 12 and 4 teams I've ever seen. If you look at their losses this year, not many teams looked worse losing than the Steelers did. And even in their victories, they beat Jacksonville by 1 score. They beat some really bad football teams barely. And everybody wants to talk about last week that the Browns only won by 2 and the Steelers didn't even play their guys. In my opinion, if that many guys needed rest, I really don't think that much changes in 1 week. I think the Steelers are slow. I don't think Ben can throw the ball downfield. They can't run the ball. I don't think that they can keep the ball to possess it long enough to keep the Browns off the field. I think the Browns can just grind and grind and grind with Chubb and the kid that they got from Kansas City. I'm blanking on his name now. But I don't think that Baker needs to do much. I think that the Browns can just try to not give up chunk plays on defense, not give up the quick scores, and just grind it out with Nick Chubb all day. And I think the Browns can pull it out. I think the Browns win. I'm gonna say 19-17 Browns, low scoring, just attacking offense on the ground with the Browns all day.
All right.
Okay, so there's 3 of us. So I'm going to go with, I'm doing a little bit of a bracket here for the video. But I think we're going to do 2 versus 1 as an outcome as to who to advance to the next in the matchup or whatever.
Good.
So I'm actually going to take the Steelers just because I don't think that the Browns have enough. I agree with a lot of those points about Nick Chubb. I think Nick Chubb is probably one of the top 3 running backs in football. I don't like Baker Mayfield. I don't like anything after Myles Garrett on the defense. I think Myles Garrett needs to become Superman to have that defense play anything top tier. But the Steelers defense, if they were 100% healthy, I think this would be not even close. But they are pretty beat up on defense, and TJ Watt is an animal. So I am still going to go with the Steelers, but that offense is worrisome. So, yeah, the Steelers and fans. Ravens and Titans. This is going to be one of the better matchups of the weekend. Big Al, what do you got?
Well, I think the obvious factor is Derrick Henry, and I just see this game as a revenge game for the Ravens. They lost to him last year. I believe that was in Baltimore. So, just like a whole new year, with that, and like I said, like if the Ravens can slow him down, even if they don't slow him down, they still might keep it close. But I gotta go with Baltimore and to get revenge this time in Tennessee.
Okay, Jordan.
Yeah, this game's really tough to call, I think, because if you look at what the strength is of Tennessee and what the weakness is of Baltimore, they balance each other out. The same way that if Tennessee on defense, if where they're able to be beaten is in their secondary, they're not great in pass coverage and they're last in the league in sacks. Well, then you're playing against an offense in Baltimore that's first in the league in rushing and doesn't really throw the ball. So what Baltimore's good at offensively, Tennessee doesn't really feel threatened by that, I don't think. I think that Tennessee matches up well and feels comfortable just kind of shadowing Lamar and making Lamar have to throw the ball better than other teams might. But, at the end of the day, I talk baseball. It's all about who's hot at the right time. Baltimore hasn't lost a game by less than 10 points in a month. They haven't played super hard competition, but it's hard to go in and week out and win games by double digits and 2 touchdowns, and they've done that now for a month. Tennessee showed this year that they can't really hold on to leads, which is unbelievable because they have a guy that rushes for 200 yards a game. Like you'd think they just squash teams, but they did it against Houston. They gave up a 12-point lead in the fourth quarter. They did it a couple weeks ago with Indy. They gave up a lead to them. I think that the timing is just right here, that Baltimore just kind of flexes their muscles and stays hot. And I think it's really tight down to the wire, but I think that Tennessee maybe makes too many mistakes late in the game and Baltimore doesn't make any. So I'll take Baltimore. I'll take them 32-26, something like that, 32-30 maybe.
Okay.
The over-under is 57, so
Okay.
I mean that's it's supposed to be high scoring, and I think it's going to be high scoring.
Yeah. I feel like over the last, I don't know, maybe 5 years or so, the Titans have always had a pretty solid defense, and that is not the case this year. I think they're one of the worst. Their run game is one of the best. Obviously, Derrick Henry's a monster, but I was actually going to say the same thing about being hot at the right time because the Ravens are pretty hot right now.
They're a team nobody wants to play right now.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to play Baltimore. I don't care who you are. I mean, they're hottest you can get.
Yeah. I think for the Titans, Derrick Henry, he's going to have to he's gonna at least 200 yards. I mean, this is gonna have to be all on him if the Titans pull this off. But I just think the Ravens are too hot right now. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think it's good. Ravens. Okay. All right, moving on to the NFC. The Bears and the Saints in New Orleans. Big Al.
Well, I for a while there, down to the last couple of weeks, we didn't even know if the Bears were going to get into the playoffs.
Right.
So, and just with Drew Brees being at home, coming back, trying to get healthier, it's too hard to pick against them in New Orleans, and just they have. I don't think their defense is as good as they were last year, but they still got Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara, so it's going to be hard to beat. So the Bears have a tough task, and I don't think they last very long. I'd take the Saints.
Okay. Jordan?
Yeah, I mean, you saw, people are kind of high on Mitchell Trubisky right now. He's played some of his better football over the past month since he took back over. You saw last week, though, when they played the Packers, when the Bears are forced into a situation where they have to throw the ball late in the game, stuff gets really messy. When they can keep it close, running the ball and letting, Mitchell do some gadget plays, getting him out of the pocket, rush for a couple yards, keep the chains moving, keep it close, they can play. When you get into a shootout and Aaron Rodgers is throwing 4 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns, and you're down by 11, 12, 14 points in the third quarter, the Bears fall apart. I think that this is probably the easiest call of the entire week. I think that the Saints win by 30, 35 points. I don't think the Bears score more than 10.
Wow.
I think Kamara has 3 or 4 touchdowns, either rushing, receiving. It's just going to be – it's one of those games. You look at how the Saints exited the playoffs the past couple of years, and they get to come in against the first round against a team that just made it in week 17 because another team lost. We talk about momentum. The Bears have none. They just got blown out by Green Bay in a game that they had to win to get into the playoffs and played terrible. I think the Saints blow them out. I think it's 37-7, 37-10, something like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think you had a little bit of the Khalil Mack defense kind of come back a little bit, and I think that's what kept them in the division race. I mean, the Packers kind of were in control most of the time, but enough to get them into the playoffs at least. But the Saints are clearly the better team. We almost didn't get Alvin Kamara. I don't know if you heard about this. The COVID protocol put him ineligible if the Saints were to play tomorrow on Saturday, but since the game is on Sunday, he's eligible. So I think they kind of lucked out with that. But I mean, who's to say what the outcome would be if he wasn't playing? I think I'd still give it to the Saints. That's how probably lopsided this is. But the Saints,
they rushed for 260 yards last week without any of their top 4 running backs.
Yeah.
They rushed for 260 yards with Ty Johnson, or a guy that used to be a wide receiver for the Packers, was their top running back, and they ran for 260 yards. I mean, come on.
Yeah, Saints are clearly the better team, so they'll advance here. Okay, Seahawks and Rams. Big Al?
This was another game I was going back and forth with, just because, like, every time I think the Rams are gonna mess it up, like, their defense, like, shows up. So, and I know these teams played each other twice already, and I think both teams won once. They were tied in that series. But going back to Seattle, I think experience in Russell Wilson will lead the way, and they'll win a low-scoring game. But because I think the Rams still can play defense, and Seattle, I think, is growing up a little bit on their defensive side. So I think Russell and them win a low-scoring game. I'll take Seattle.
Okay. Jordan?
This is a super weird game to me, because through 10 weeks, Russell was almost leading the MVP contention.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like him and Kyler Murray and Aaron Rodgers and Mahomes were there. But, like, Russell came out like everyone's like, oh, you got to let Russell cook. And he just came out like a man on a mission. DK looked like he's going to, have 2,000 yards receiving. No one can guard him. Something happened. I don't know what it is. I mean, the Seahawks offense in the past 6 weeks has just disappeared. I mean, they're playing tight games with really bad teams. Russell looks really shaky. He's getting sacked more than normal. Sean McVay in his career is 5-3 against the Seahawks. He's averaged giving up less than 17 points a game to the Seahawks in 8 games. And I think the Seahawks are clearly the better team. We don't even know who the Rams' quarterback is going to be. We don't know if Jared Goff can grip the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Jared Goff may not even be on the Rams next year. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on there, but the Seahawks, I just don't get what's going on. It's like something's off. Ultimately, I just think that it's too big of a game for Seattle to lose. It's too big of a game for Russell Wilson to lose. I don't know how Seattle does it, but I think they win somehow. I don't know if that's, what's that guy? They had a backup running back who last year in the playoffs played out of his mind. He was a first-round draft pick for him like 3 years ago. I don't know. Maybe he shows up because Carson hasn't done much, but I'll take the Seahawks, like Al said, in a low-scoring game. I don't know how they score, but I think they win.
Okay. Yeah, I was kind of going back and forth with this too. Like, I think that they did play each other week 16, and it was a decent game. The Seahawks pulled away in the fourth quarter, but that was also at the same time that Jared Goff broke his thumb. I don't know if you saw that, hit the guy's helmet. That looked so painful. So I don't know. It's Friday night right now. I'm not sure if they've announced whether or not he's going to play or whether or not they're going with the backup. But if it's a backup, Seahawks are winning this game easy. But DK Metcalf is a Greek god, and he has slowed down, but he was off to a really hot start. If he's going to show up as he did in the beginning of the season, then the Seahawks are winning this. I think Russell Wilson is what puts it over the top for this particular week. So I'm going with the Seahawks, but I was actually thinking Rams at one point, but yeah.
This year, when DK Metcalf is guarded by Jalen Ramsey, he has 11 targets, 4 receptions, and 9 yards.
Yeah.
So, I mean, DK has to find a new way to get open because the Seahawks have to find a new way to get him in the game because lining him up outside and letting Jalen guard him one-on-one, I mean, he's basically a non-factor. They're playing with 10 guys.
Wow.
All right. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady go to Washington and face the football team. Big Al, what do you think?
Name?
It's the football team.
Okay, I just didn't know if they had a name yet or not, but I think
the NFC East champs. That's their name.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Matt, I think Chase Young will. I think he will get to him a few times, just like he predicts to. But I think like a little bit, maybe first quarter, maybe a little bit into the second quarter, it'll be close. Just get those nerves out and everything. But I think closer to the end, the Bucks really find their way, and Tom does his thing, and the Bucks kind of spread the lead out, and then win by at least 14. So I'm gonna take Tampa Bay on the road.
Okay, Jordan.
I have some cool information for you on this. In Tom Brady's career, where he's won the last 4 games of the regular season, he's gone to the Super Bowl every time. That's occurred 6 times in his career. One of those Super Bowls he lost. So when Tom has won the last 4 games of his season, they've gone to the Super Bowl every year. Now that's Belichick and it's the Patriots, and there's a whole lot there. That's not the Buccaneers and Arians, but still, Brady is cooking right now. I don't care about Mike Evans being out. Antonio Brown's caught like 28 passes in the past 3 games. I mean, they are on fire. I do think it's going to be a close game for the first half. It's a good story. It's a good story with Alex Smith if he plays. It's a good story with their head coach and battling cancer. It's a good story going 7-9 and winning the division in week 17. It doesn't matter. There's no fans. There's no environment. No one cares about the Washington football team. No one's watching that game. I think that, like Alex said, I think it might stay close, but in the end, there's just too much. There's too much there. It's Tom Brady. It's the playoffs. He's got that feeling. Gronkowski's got that feeling. There's just too much magic there.
Yeah. I love the Alex Smith story. I think that I've heard talks of possibly changing the award name to Alex Smith Comeback Player of the Year. Like that, the story's pretty awesome. But
you can vote against that.
But that offense is nowhere near playoff offense. I mean, what's the wide receiver's name? I forget.
McLaurin.
Yeah, McLaurin. He's had a decent year or whatever, and Gibson's an okay player, but that Alex Smith isn't Alex Smith of old even. So this is probably pretty lopsided. I'm going to go Buccaneers easy. But
what would you guys say has to happen for Washington to win the game?
A complete
Brady throws 4 picks.
Yeah. Brady would have to completely screw up.
Just get sacked 6 times, throws 4 picks. Like a just complete imploding of the offense, basically.
Yeah. And I can't argue with that.
So what's our bracket put us at? Who's playing who?
Okay, so with our picks, 2 out of 3 picks, obviously. We have the Chiefs playing the Ravens, the Steelers playing the Bills, the Packers and the Buccaneers, and the Seahawks and the Saints. Now they reseed going into the second round, so the lowest winner plays the best, the
Yeah.
Chiefs or Packers. So, which was the Ravens and the Buccaneers in this case. So, if you want to go ahead, Big Al, we can advance Chiefs and Ravens if you'd like.
That's a crazy game.
I know. You know, Ravens are completely all offense. Well, I think both these teams are respectively all offense, and they both. I think the Ravens defense is honestly a little bit better. Just in my opinion, I think they're a little bit better, but I think Kansas City would be. They can hold their own. They can guard Lamar, and they can do what they need to do to get a home win. So, very a lot of offense, but give me Kansas City at home.
Okay, Jordan.
Got one phrase, Andy Reid after a bye. I think he has one loss in his career after a bye, or two losses after a bye. I think last year the story going into the playoffs was Kansas City was unbeatable. And I think that bit them a little bit. They came out their first two playoff games flat. They were down by 20 against Tennessee and won that game. They were down by 24 against Houston and scored 56 unanswered points to win that game. I think the opposite is happening this year. I think Kansas City is not going into the playoffs assuming they're just going to go swamp people and that Mahomes is the king and the automatic MVP. I think last year was a wake-up call, and I think they come into this year and they get ahead and they stay ahead and no one catches up. I think the Chiefs get ahead, stay ahead, make Lamar throw the ball, and it actually turns out a little bit more lopsided than people think.
Yeah. Like we said in the first round for the Ravens, they are pretty hot right now. So that's why I think this is going to be pretty high scoring. I don't think they're going to, like you said, I don't think they're going to fall behind like they did last year in their matchups and making two comebacks or something like that. Ravens are still a great offense. Lamar Jackson is still a good player, but I think he's going to play from behind on this. I think Mahomes is going to go up by maybe 2, and then Jackson playing from behind. I don't quite like that. So I'm going with the Chiefs easy. Okay, so Steelers and Bills.
All Chiefs.
What's that?
We're all on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
As we should be.
Yeah.
Steelers and Bills. What do you think, Big Al?
Would that be that game in Pittsburgh?
No, this will be Buffalo.
That's right.
It's in the blue, maybe.
Right. Man, like I predicted, the Steelers would possibly win that first week. But going back to Buffalo, where they lost before, I believe it was a Monday or Sunday night this year. I just think they have their number in that this year, and they keep the streak going. They win 2 in a row against the Steelers. Bills win convincingly. They move on.
Convincingly. Okay. Jordan?
Yeah, again, like I said earlier, I don't think the Steelers beat the Browns. I think the Browns win. I think if the Browns play the Bills, they lose. And I think if the Steelers play the Bills, they lose. The NFL right now is all about the future. They're changing rules to make more points and have quarterbacks get hit less and wide receivers get touched less. This isn't about Big Ben and the fact that he's been here for so long. He's old. He can't throw the ball downfield. He can't compete with high-scoring offenses. I mean, if, like Matt said, if the Steelers had a fully healthy defense and could just manhandle people like they did early in the year, that's a different story. You can let Ben do what he does. Not now. Right now, the Steelers have to go into the Bills and try to score 30 points. And I don't think the Steelers can do that against many people right now.
Yeah, I did a little preseason prediction with a coworker of mine back in the fall, and I had my AFC Championship Chiefs and Steelers, and I think I came close, but the Bills are, I think, on a different level. If the Steelers would have didn't have that, what was it, 3-game losing streak or 4-game losing streak. I think they maybe if it was like one and then they bounced back and then, something like that, I could make a point, but I think the Bills are just way hotter right now. They're a better team, I think. So, yeah, I'm going Bills too.
Okay.
All right, Big Al. Let's start with the Packers and the Buccaneers. Who do you got?
Green Bay. Next question.
Oh, okay. Not close at all, huh?
I'll give them a fighting chance just because it's Tom Brady, but not in Lambeau. Green Bay all the way in this one.
Okay. Jordan?
I'll have a question for you.
Oh boy.
How many Super Bowl championships does Aaron Rodgers have?
I believe 1.
How many does Tom Brady have?
I believe 6.
There you go. Next question.
Wow. Okay.
The Packers have underwhelmed in the playoffs for going on 12 years now. We've told this story so many times. I get it. Aaron Rodgers is amazing. He's playing out of his mind. He's going to be the MVP. Devontae Adams, or whatever his name is, had 20 less catches but played 2 less games or whatever. I get great running game. Aaron Jones, the rookie out of Boston, is playing out of his mind right now. All signs point to Green Bay. Told you, I'm riding Tom, man. Playoff Tom is a different animal. He's been there, done that. He invites people to the party. He don't get invited to the party, Al.
Okay. I'm excited to watch then. I'm excited.
Man, I guess I'm the tiebreaker.
You haven't had to be the tiebreaker much.
Right. So, there's something about Lambeau Field, and I'm kind of hoping for another snowstorm. I love snowy Lambeau, but and now don't get me wrong, Brady can play in the snow, but Rodgers, man, they're so, that offense is pretty insane. Aaron Jones is a monster, and Devontae Adams, I feel like you don't even have to aim. You just throw it on that half of the field, and he'll go get it. I think I'm going to go Packers. I understand the whole Brady stuff, but the new team, and maybe if they do this again next year and he's hot again, then I could see the whole learning your teammates stuff is a little bit stronger for Tampa Bay. But I'm going to go with the Packers. So
I got one more point to make on that, and then we'll switch.
Okay.
One thing to keep in mind, if the Green Bay ends up playing Tampa Bay, David Bakhtiari, their starting left tackle, got hurt in Week 17.
Yeah, that's right.
Torres ACL, he's out for the year. They now have a guy that was playing guard for them at left tackle. So you got Shaq Barrett, Jason Pierre-Paul. That could be a matchup there where that could decide the game, in some sense. Just to keep in mind.
That's true.
Big Al, Seahawks and Saints. Big matchup.
Jeez. And that would be in
New Orleans.
Matt, I know I predicted them for an easier win in the first round against the Bears. Not so much easy against the Seahawks. Give me the road team in this one. The Seahawks, I think they have enough to compete with them, and make it a fun game to watch, and just put that pressure on Breeze to do what he does. And if they can slow down Kamara, I think that would be enough to win for them. So I'll go Seattle on the road.
Wow. Okay. Jordan?
Yeah, Matt, you're going to have to make a decision again. I think if you look at every playoff team right now, really, in my opinion, the Saints have the only defense that I trust that has been good all year. They had really one bad game, and it was against Philly, which is strange, but maybe it's the rookie curse or something playing Jalen Hurts. But really all year, they're top 2 or 3 against the rush, top 2 or 3 in sacks, top 2 or 3 against the pass. Offensively, they're like top 1 or 2 or 3 time of possession. They run the ball well. They don't turn it over. I just, they have no weaknesses. They're kind of like how I feel about the Bills right now. The Saints played a lot of good teams this year. They played Tampa twice and blew them out twice. They've played the good teams that they're going to face in the playoffs, and they played them well and beat them decidedly. So Seattle has a lot of stuff going on right now. Like I said, I don't really get what's happening there. I don't know what happened to their offense, but the Saints can match up defensively as well as the Rams can with Seattle, but the Saints can score 35 and the Rams can't. So I think that that's a game that it could become a shootout, but I just don't know that if push comes to shove late in the game, the Saints, they just defensively they don't have a weakness.
So I picked the Seahawks over the Rams in the first round. So if the Seahawks light it up and they blow the Rams out, I may feel differently about their offense like I do right now. But their offense just has been it really slowed down over the last quarter of the season. So I am going to go Saints, especially at home. And I'm not a big Seahawks fan, so I'm going to go Saints. Okay.
Sorry, Al.
That's okay.
Okay. AFC Championship game. The Kansas City Chiefs against the Buffalo Bills. Big Al.
Ooh, baby.
What do you got, dude?
Man,
You can wrap that game up and pray it like a present. That game is a present to us.
Oh, yeah.
well,
In Kansas City.
correct. Everything in me wants to pick the Chiefs, but I'm not going to.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna say the Bills can pull the, as some might say, shock the world type of upset in Kansas City. They'll play well enough, and they get the road victory. Close game, but they get the road victory against the Chiefs, and the Chiefs will not go back to the Super Bowl this year.
Wow. Okay, Jordan.
Yeah, I think in a strange way, Patrick Mahomes has almost been ignored this year. He had so much attention last year. He shocked the world with his play. People are talking about just crowning him as the greatest of all time. He's talking at the end of the season, we might win 7 or 8 Super Bowls. Everybody's all over him, and he deserves it. I mean, he's playing at a level no one's ever seen. I think this year, all the talk's been about Josh Allen. All the talk has been about Aaron Rodgers. All the talk has been about, Stephon Diggs. Really, turn on Sports Center, Mahomes doesn't get much attention. He doesn't get much talk. And he was second in the league in passing, first in the league in touchdown passes, second in the league in passer rating. And it's like we're not even talking about him. Mm-hmm. I think that in this game, it's an amazing game. It matches up. They match up so well together. If you look at a weakness that the Bills have, they have a great cornerback in Tre'Davious White, but other than that, they don't have much in the secondary. They really don't. They have some big bodies. They have some big hitters. They have safeties that get a lot of tackles. You have to match up with speed all over the field if you're going to play Kansas City, and I just don't think the Bills can. I don't think that they can get to Mahomes with their pass rush enough, and I don't think that they can match up with speed downfield with Kansas City. So that's an unbelievable game. I think it's a shootout. There might be 80 points scored in that game, but I just think that game plays right into what Kansas City is best at against what the Bills are worst at.
Fair point.
Okay. So you're going Chiefs then?
Yeah, I'm going Chiefs.
Okay. I think I can never remember the Buffalo. I'm pretty sure Buffalo has one of the top corners in the league. I can't remember his name.
Tre'Davious White.
Yeah, that's right. And I can imagine him keeping up with Tyreek Hill pretty well, but I think the difference maker might actually be Travis Kelce. He's had an amazing year. He's the tight end, and I think he's like You know what? Maybe
He's either 2 or 3 in receiving yards.
That's what I was trying to think of. Yeah.
He's either 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And he's either like 2 or 3 in receptions too. Like,
Yep. So he's had a crazy year. I think that might be the difference. And Mahomes has a great offensive showing. Maybe Josh Allen could have. I don't think he can keep up as statistically if they're playing from behind. I'm not sure. He's got a good run game, but I'm still going Chiefs. I think they're just the slight edge in experience, and I like the Chiefs here. So
if that game is tight late in the game, if it is a one possession game, it's taking Patrick taking the ball to end the game.
Yeah.
If you have to pick between Patrick and Josh,
Yeah.
Josh never played in this big of a game before, never performed in this big of a game before. If it's a one possession game and the Chiefs need 3 points to win the game, I want Mahomes with the ball rather than Josh Allen.
Fair point.
All right, Big Al, the NFC Championship, the Packers and the Saints.
Next question, Packers.
Jeez.
Come on, dude.
No,
Well, considering that I said I think the Packers lose at home to Tampa Bay, that makes this question pretty easy. Tampa Bay, I think Tampa Bay is going to play the Saints. But considering we're going off of this bracket and the Packers are playing the Saints, I think the Packers absolutely lose to the Saints. Like I said, same thing.
Do you think Tampa Bay beats the Saints?
No,
Okay.
I don't. I'm iffy on that just because I think it's hard to beat the same team 3 times in a season.
Yeah.
And the Saints have blown out Tampa Bay twice. Like if I think Tom threw like 9 picks on the year, I think 5 of them were to the Saints.
Okay.
Like in week 1 when they played Tampa Bay, or the Saints played Tampa Bay, Tom threw 4 picks week 1, and then I think he threw 3 or 4 more picks the next time they played. So it's hard to beat the same team 3 times, but it's also, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's probably a duck. So if Tom's not seeing something that the Saints are presenting when he plays them, and if they just, Tom either figures it out or he doesn't.
Yeah. We've talked about these teams and the seasons that they've had, and their matchups and things like that. So it's a little repeating myself, but the Packers, obviously that offense is crazy. The Saints, Kamara is nuts, and Thomas is actually not as loud as I thought he would be. I thought he would be up top 5 in everything, and he's had average to above average year. But
They played in like 6 games.
Yeah, that's true too. Drew Brees, I could see him kind of like trying his hardest to, one last try at this. He's going to be a broadcaster next year, and retirement is there. So, like, I could see him really trying to go out big. But I think I'm going Packers. I maybe the does Breeze play well in the cold? So maybe that might do it. I don't know, but I'm leaning Packers. So
yeah, it's a crazy game. It's a great matchup.
Yeah. All right. So then
Green Bay got blown out this year already once by Tampa Bay. I don't know if you guys remember that.
That's true. Yeah.
I do remember. Yeah.
Tampa Bay won by like 27 points. It was a whitewash.
True.
Okay, so according to our 2 out of 3 bracket, we have the Chiefs and the Packers in the Super Bowl. Is this in Miami?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tampa Bay.
Oh, in Tampa.
Tampa. Okay. Big Al.
Oh.
Chiefs and Packers Super Bowl. 2 MVPs match up here at quarterback. What are you thinking?
You can't say next question on a Super Bowl now.
Yeah, do not.
Well, considering, those were my answers for the last couple of playoff rounds. I think Green Bay's defense turned it on a little bit better in the last part of the season, and so I think they are like really finding themselves to be the better team. As far as like Jordan mentioned earlier about the Kansas City speed, like that's my only concern with the Packers would be how do they match up with all that speed around Kansas City's offense. But I think I think they do just enough even with that speed. I think Aaron does just enough, and they find a way to win a fun Super Bowl win. So, give me the Packers in a fun scoring game.
Okay. Jordan?
Yeah, if it ends up being that Green Bay and Kansas City, um, I'm not going to take a second-year head coach to win a Super Bowl against the best quarterback in the league and one of the best head coaches of all time, in Andy Reid. I mean, again, if you look at the Super Bowl, they get extra time to prepare for the game. It's almost like a mini bye. So again, you're talking Andy Reid coming off a bye, his preparation versus a second-year head coach's preparation. Um, Aaron Rodgers is along with many quarterbacks, but him especially, is very bothered by pressure. Again, they're playing without their best left tackle. I just don't see anybody beating Kansas City. I think the teams that could beat them, are teams that have really good pass rushes like Tampa Bay and like New Orleans. Green Bay doesn't have a great pass rush. It's an okay pass rush. Preston Smith, I think, has like 2 sacks this year. Za'Darius has played well. He's got like 9. They have some good corners in the back end with Kevin King and stuff. But I just, if that's the matchup, if it's Green Bay and if it's the Chiefs, I just think logistically with the planning of the game, that's pretty lopsided. If I'm being honest, I think that Andy Reid could scheme that offense and defense to win much better than I would trust a second-year head coach who's never been in the playoffs, never been to the Super Bowl.
Okay. Um, I think this is such a even matchup. Like, if I were to think of their defenses, I feel like neither of them are all that great, but I think they're probably pretty close to each other. Two great quarterbacks, receivers are all great. So I like your idea of the head coaching matchup, and I think that'll be the major difference. I think that the Chiefs pull it out because of Andy Reid, and don't get me wrong, Aaron Rodgers can be that coach on the field, but I think with some
in-game adjustments, halftime adjustments,
yeah.
Trust in your offensive coordinator, trust in your defensive coordinator. I don't know, man. He's been there, done that.
Yeah. But I think the Chiefs, it could be one of those things where it's like the defending champs want to get back, and they're a team on a mission kind of thing, and they've been great all year long. They just got to finish it up. So I'm gonna go Chiefs. So there you have it, Chiefs, Super Bowl champs 2 years in a row. Big Al, you said you had a couple questions. What is this about?
Yes, I do. Um, well, Matt, I'll start with you on this one, and then we'll go to Jordan here. Um, Matt, Devontae Smith from Alabama just won the Heisman, and he won like 2 or 3 other awards already. Um, and the Jags have the first pick. Are you convinced that now that you see all this Heisman, um, him winning the Heisman and just all this athleticism from him, do you still see Trevor Lawrence as a lock for them to go get a quarterback, or do you think that they can take Devontae Smith, get a great wide receiver, and get a quarterback later?
I I would take Trevor Lawrence throwing to nobody than over Gardner Minshew throwing to Devontae Smith. I think the Jaguars don't have a quarterback. That's the most important position in football. Like, I think you take Trevor Lawrence, and it's definitely
Dude, the Jaguars are trying to sign Urban Meyer.
yeah.
Urban Meyer has already started putting together a coaching staff. He's either going to go to San Diego or he's going to go to L.A. Urban's not going to go to a team that he doesn't feel he has a great quarterback.
Right.
Urban's not going to go embarrass himself in his first chance at being a head coach in the NFL after not coaching for the last 4 or 5 years. Urban's going to say, hey, if you pick me and you don't pick Trevor Lawrence, I'm resigning the day after you don't pick him. I'm not coming in to coach a bad quarterback. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
Urban Meyer's making $6 million a year commentating for Fox or CBS or whoever it is. He doesn't even need a kid take a coaching job, so he's certainly not going to take one if they're not going to have a good situation he feels he could develop moving forward.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just wondering if it was a long shot just because of all the talent this guy has. Just
Devontae Smith may not even be the first wide receiver drafted. Jamar Chase on LSU didn't play this year. Last year when he had Joe Burrow, he had 26 touchdowns and 1,800 yards receiving. So it's
the beginning of the year. The beginning of the year, wasn't it? Jalen Waddle was the guy.
Jalen Waddle was the guy.
So
yeah.
Which he's a Henry Ruggs type player. He's a burner, but Devontae just turned into that Chad Ochocinco catch everything touchdown guy.
Yeah.
My boy Chad.
That's right, man.
All right. Go ahead.
So next question, Jordan, I'll start with you on this one, and not to bring up things too much here, but what do you think about the decision to take out Hurts to put in Sudfeld when the only thing I have to say is there was 8 minutes left in the game and the Eagles were down by 3, so they still had a chance to win, but man, I didn't see this coming.
Here's where I think it was disgusting. It doesn't mean anything. It means nothing. It didn't change anything. It just the appearance of it. And this is the thing. People want to focus on the quarterback change. If you look at what occurred after the quarterback change, multiple things happened that indicated that Philly was trying really hard not to win that game.
Okay.
They didn't challenge a clear incomplete pass that was ruled a completion by Washington. They didn't challenge a fumble that they could have challenged. There was 2 minutes and 38 seconds left, and Washington ran a 2nd and 10 play. They ran the ball for no gain, so it was going to 3rd and 10, and the Eagles had 2 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning. They didn't call any timeouts. They let it go down to the 2-minute warning for the 3rd and 10 play. So if Washington gets a first down on that 3rd and 10 play, the game is over. If you were trying to win the game and win the division and there's 2 minutes and 38 seconds left and you have 2 timeouts and a 2-minute warning and you're down by 6, you call a timeout after the 2nd and 10 play immediately. Because if they don't get the first down on 3rd and 10, you get the 2-minute warning plus another timeout. You get the ball back. You're guaranteed to, unless they get a first down on 3rd and 10. Okay. Even the play calling when Jalen was in the game and they went for it on 4th and whatever, they have the ball on the 3-yard line and run three plays that had one receiver really in the option to be able to catch the ball. It wasn't even like competitive. Like, again, if it was week 17 and they had to win that game to make the playoffs, you think Doug's just rolling Jalen out to the right to try to catch a guy on a fade? That's his best shot? No. He played the Patriots in the Super Bowl and called a trick play no one had ever seen before when he had to win the game.
Yeah.
So, like, to me, I feel bad for Doug because Doug had to go up to the podium after the game and he had to wear it and act like it was his idea and act like it was all his planning. I think that Doug was told, and this I have no information. I think Doug was told, if you want to keep your job, lose the game.
Yeah.
Wow.
And people like Brandon Graham and people like Jason Kelsey, they've come out and they said that they knew that Sudfeld was going to play this week. And I don't have a problem with Sudfeld playing. I wish he would have started the game because we wouldn't be having these discussions.
Right.
But there's no way that you can deny. I don't care if it's Graham. I don't care if it's Ertz. I don't care if it's Kelsey. I don't care if it's Doug himself. You can't deny that they didn't try to win the game. They tried to lose the football game. if they felt that they needed to get a look at Sudfeld after 4 years of being on their roster, and they don't know who the guy is yet after 4 years, then they should have started him or at least put him in at halftime.
True.
Why put him in with 8 minutes left and you're down by 3? Why? What?
Yeah.
Are you done evaluating Jalen Hurts? Have you seen enough of Jalen that you've already made the decision that he's not your guy, so you don't need to see him attempt to win a game in the fourth quarter?
Right. We
watched Carson Wentz for the past 5 years not be able to win games in the fourth quarter. It'd be nice as an Eagles fan to see an Eagles quarterback come back and win a game in the fourth quarter. It's been years since we've seen that happen. Donovan wasn't good at it either.
Right.
So I disagreed with everything about the pick, top to bottom. And I think that, again, if you focus on what happened even after the change happened, all the stuff within the game that, they didn't challenge, they didn't call timeouts. Like all the stuff kind of played into it where it's like, man, I'm watching a football team purposely lose a football game. And I can't really say I've ever done that before. Like, I've never seen a team in the fourth quarter just decide to stop trying.
Right. When I first saw it, I thought like Hurts was hurt, like I thought something happened to him that, that's why he wasn't in the fourth quarter. But then I saw what happened, and, I can't say I agree with it either. But Matt, what did you think when you heard about it?
I actually saw I was paying close attention as a Broncos fan because of the draft pick. So the jump from 10 to 6, to me, that's worth it. that's the difference between, Micah Parsons and, just out of that range, because there's a group of guys right there, from like 4 to 10, they're all stars, I think. And you could fall out of that with the 10th pick. So I think if it was planned that way, I think it was smart. If not, then whatever. But you got us the 9th pick, so whatever.
But we're right behind you at 10. It'll be fun.
Yeah, if you look at the Eagles roster situation, they're not in good shape, regardless of its quarterback or anything. They're due to lose a lot this year. Mm-hmm. They're not in good cap space going into next year. So, like Matt said, from a business standpoint, it made sense to lose the football game. And I don't really care that they lost the football game. I could care less. Yeah. I almost didn't watch the game. I only watched it because I bet on it. But like, it's not about, to me, the win or the loss. It's not about that. It's what they did is indefendable. Like, you can't try to win the game for 3 quarters and then try to lose the game in the fourth. Right. And then Doug's defense of that they were trying to win the game was that Wentz or that Kelce was in, Ertz was in, Brandon Graham was in, and Darius Slay were in. He said all of our best guys that were available were in the game. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, well, then what kind of a message does it send to those guys that you just took out your starting quarterback?
Yeah.
Why not also take them out? Be like, hey, guys, it's a wrap. Like, how are you, like, trying to defend your roster at one hand and say that our senior guys and our leaders on our team are playing, but we're also taking our starting quarterback out? Like, those two concepts to me don't play together. So I just didn't like to me, if do what the Steelers did and just say these guys aren't playing. Mm-hmm. We're comfortable with the 6th overall pick. Congratulations, Washington. Keep your chin up, Dallas and Giants. And you move on. And you avoid all of this because you go into the game and you would handle all of the criticism before the game starts, and then when the game ends, it would be done. When you make a decision like that in the middle of the game, people are going to talk about this all the way up to the draft, possibly even in the next season. You're going to talk about players that are coming out, and there's going to be reports about guys that are not happy and don't want to be on the team and don't believe in Doug and don't believe in leadership. And they're going to question Howie if he picks a bad guy with the 6th pick. And there's so much is going to play into this. I just think that if they would have gone into the game and taken the criticism into the game, saying, we're not playing Jalen, we're not playing Ertz, we're not playing Kelsey, you know, I think you can take that criticism going into the game, and then the game ends, and no one's going to talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
But the people that Doug mentioned as that were still in the game, Ertz, Graham, Kelsey, and Slay. Ertz, Graham, and Kelsey aren't Eagles next year.
Yeah.
So you really think that Doug's going to bench those guys on Sunday Night Football in their last home game as an Eagle?
No.
So it's like, well, we're going to show you loyalty and let you play, but at the same time, we're not going to try to win. Thanks for your efforts and have a good day.
Yeah.
It's a gross thing to watch. It really was. I watched it and just felt like, as a sports fan, it just was. I've never seen that. I've never seen a team tank mid-game.
Yeah. All right, Big Al. Anything else, man?
I think I'm good, Matt.
All right.
Al, you're not off the hook, dude. We get to ask you a question about Dallas. You guys have a gigantic decision to make, and now, Alex, Mr. Jerry Jones has zero leverage, none.
Mm-hmm.
He either has to franchise Dak and pay him $39 million, or he has to pay him as the richest quarterback in football, which he didn't want to do last year. So now what does he do?
I say out comes the tag again.
For $39 million. You guys better get rid of Zeke if you're paying Dak $39 million.
I already said to Matt, I'll take a younger version of Zeke. I think Zeke's slowing down. He's still got some gifs, but he's slowing down. I would like to actually have a better version of him coming up here, but we'll see. You're right. It's tough, but I just don't see him being the richest paid quarterback in the NFL.
Why do you want Dak to get franchised again? Because then at the end of next year they have to pay him then. So why not pay him now? If he's your guy, why not pay him now?
That's true. I mean, I think he wants to be there, and I think, I think he wants to be there, and I think Jerry wants to be there. Jerry wants him to be there. So you're right. I could see them paying him big this coming year. I would just.
I think you have to. If you're Dallas, you caught fire in a lake with Dak. You drafted him in the 4th round, and he turns out to be a superstar quarterback.
Yeah.
He needs a lot of help, and he needs a healthy offensive line, and he needs great receivers to be Dak. But still, he's played at a level. He's stayed healthy. He had a freak incident this year that he got hurt with, but it's like, I don't know if you're Jerry, like, what more could you have asked for in the past 4 years to have paid a quarterback? Like, what? I get it, the playoff appearances are there and you haven't won a Super Bowl and all that, but, like, from an individual play standpoint and statistics, and that's what you pay quarterbacks based off of, I'm not sure what Jerry could have hoped to get more out of than what Dak has given.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been a good one. Jordan, I appreciate you coming on for some bracket picks and stuff. Big Al, what do you got, man?
Just we all look forward toward the weekend just to watch these teams and hopefully for some great games. And Jordan, we'd love to have you back on again. For maybe a Super Bowl or even the draft. I know we love doing the draft stuff together. So.
Well, I will tell you that I spend a lot of time preparing for that NFL draft, so we may want to do a couple sessions, not just one.
All right.
But, we can do that. Yep.
Yeah.
I would love that. So, thanks for coming on, and just everyone watching. Thank you for staying with us, and as we said, we have other ideas left for you, and hey, it's a new year, so new ideas. Just to keep staying with us and spreading the word of us. So we thank you.
Perfect. All right.
Albert, I don't know what needs to happen more, me getting a haircut or you shaving your beard, but one of the two needs to happen, buddy. My hair is out of control, but your beard is out of control. So I'm gonna go ahead and say your beard wins as what needs changed the fastest.
I was gonna say I would totally agree with that.
All right. I'm going to buy you an electric razor and show you how to use it.
Thank you.
Perfect ending. All right.